Yeah, that was nice. That was pretty nice. That was from Carl Casey. Credit where it's due. How are you doing? I was going to originally um, just stream some Guild Wars. I don't know, I was in the mood. And then my mood just got destroyed. I'm not sure why. I just like, I started feeling weird and then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Well, not yet anyway. I might play some later though, depending on a few things. That said, here we are for a couple of hours. So, yeah, I'm not really. There isn't any purpose to this stream. I just felt like streaming, which is weird, honestly. Um, but yeah, like no, it's there are a few things I wanted to talk about actually, but beyond those, I mean, I'm gonna have to wing it a little bit. Well, so there's been. I mean, you know that I watch some of those quote unquote short guys, right? I even watch some of the gun guys, or any other type of guys. Like I just consume stuff. And so, um, I've talked about Sadiversity before, haven't I? But it's been a while, right? And he used to be. I used to value the person's opinions, I guess. But then, it started getting a little bit weird, and then I just dropped it. And when I say weird, I mean kind of like into book writing and stuff, and that didn't go too well. I'm not gonna go into details about that. Like that's whatever. But his statements and videos have caused like recently some kind of uproar, right? I suppose. I mean, don't get me wrong. I watched a few reviews of Sad's works or work, I suppose, and it's kind of like it's cringe. But as I was watching that unfold, I noticed that there was this other guy. This person is called, or their channel is called like West Side Tyler or something. I think it is called actually West Side Tyler. Anyway, and I was, I binge watched some of his videos on Diversity, and it made me wonder a little bit. Not because I think that like the criticisms are unfair, but that like in some ways, Tyler, I'll call him Tyler. I hope that's okay. Probably has the wrong idea about a few things. And do know that like I'm not an expert, right, on anything that I'm going to talk about. I just come from I might have mentioned that, but I come from a background of like around 10 years, definitely more, but I'll say 10 years just because I like to round things down in these matters of martial arts and stuff. And when I say in stuff, I know it sounds like a little bit shitty, but I just, I like underselling myself a little bit, so, just bear with me. And even though, like, I'm out of shape, and even though I haven't touched that crap for, like, a few years now, for sure, I still retain, like, some of the, if not all of the knowledge that I had. And so sometimes when I hear someone unfairly, or not unfairly, because the criticism is fair, but like when I hear some people or see some stuff, I kind of like instinctively go like, wait a minute, that can't be too correct, right? Not according to my experience, which is also what Tyler is going off on. Like if you watch their videos on on criticizing Sad's technique, if you can call it that, and his armaments. which I will talk about actually. He's a little bit more bitter than he should be, to the point where I think some of his statements may not have been correct, at least according to like what I was taught. So this may very well sound like source me, kind of thing. But hey, I don't know. I've got some first-hand experience, so all I can do is like share my thoughts. Like that's all I'm gonna do. Like I'm not even gonna defend or attack anyone or touch any of that fucking stinking mess. But there are a few points that I wanted to like bring up, and I did, during the week I did say that maybe it would be a nice idea to just sometimes share my thoughts on some matters, and maybe martial arts and in general just I guess combat. Can you call it that? I don't even know. This is like new territory to me, okay? But yeah, I did say that I might comment on that shit, right? So watching Tyler's video, I caught like a couple of things that I wanted to bring up, I guess, which are interesting, not because they're wrong or right, but because they're interesting, genuinely, and they give me like a nice little step to step on and talk about stuff, which is what I want to do, right? And so it helps because it gives me it kind of like quote unquote gives me material, right? Which I like. I need to start from somewhere, I need to be inspired. So one of the things that Tyler criticized when watching Shad trying to convince people that his armament, his gear is functional and and all that. So essentially, just TLDR, like, so what this Tyler person did was criticize Sad's technique, right? And in that, he brings up a few things. So one of the things is fatigue, right? So I don't know, and I don't care if Shad really, has like chronic fatigue or whatnot or whatever. But like the thing with fatigue, right? With getting winded, running out of gas, as they say. Hello, Neris, how are you? Welcome to my martial arts stream. No, it's not a martial art. Come on, maybe it is a little bit. Okay, fuck it, I don't fucking know. Listen, what I wanted to say, I are dead. Yeah, I are dead too. It's like it's Saturday, it's very chill. It's this and that. It's like, yeah, no longer tipsy. Why would you be tipsy? What have you been doing? Hmm? What have you been doing? You had a few beers? Oh, with whom? That's amazing. Hey, I'm jealous, honestly. Saturday evening beers? Yeah, that would be cool, honestly. People from work? Or from school? Or how did that happen? Classmate, we had school from home and I didn't have time to get home in time. Alright. Hey, that's awesome, honestly. That's really awesome. So, but as I was saying though, oh, what kind of beer did you have? Did you go to one of those places where they have like 50 kinds of beer or something? Or was it like more casual, just walk up to a bar and just like walk in and just chill and everything? From a convenience store? Yeah, okay. Hey, it still counts. It still counts. Had fun? It made it bearable because school was deadly boring. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sometimes you just need that shit. Hmm. So, fatigue. Here's the thing. as an individual who has trained like for a decade and more, I always had problem with this. I was never diagnosed with anything like that, but I'll tell you what. I'm not quite sure. Because so the argument of Tyler's argument was that partly why he would win, quote unquote, in a fight against Shad, because it's gotten to that point, okay, would be that Shad would run out of gas, let's say, right? Okay, so I wanted to say that it's debatable, right? Even now, and as I said, I've dropped training. I'm not working out systematically, like methodically. Just every now and then I might do it. I'm trying to convince myself to get back into it, but it's super hard. I would say that getting winded is nothing that you can rely on. You can't rely on your opponent getting winded unless they're literally wheezing on the floor and they're not fucking faking it, which I wouldn't trust either way. You can't really reliably watch a person exert themselves and then say, okay, that's how long they can last, right? And I'm coming from more of a tactical perspective, if you wish. So I'm not saying that Tyler would not win or Shad would win or anything. I'm just saying that like fatigue or signs of fatigue, beyond the fact that they can be faked, they can also be misinterpreted. Because like how do you react when you're fatigued, for example? Like the way I react to that, like when I was sparring, right? When I would spar, like whatever, when I would notice that I'm getting a bit tired, what I would do is like literally relax and breathe. And doing that, like literally letting go of the situation mentally for a few seconds and taking a breath without losing your focus, okay? But like mentally just chilling a bit. Refreshed me a lot, honestly. And then I was ready, for example, again. So it's really difficult to gauge, you know, when a person can't really continue. So I'd say fatigue is something you can't rely on, like from experience, honestly. I myself have seen some people who, to me, looked like they probably wouldn't be able to go on for long, and then they could. And that's surprising. And surprise is bad. You don't want surprises. So, you know, it all really depends. But yeah, like, for example, I'm completely, like, as I said, I've let go completely. And which I shouldn't have, by the way, holy shit. And you know, I can throw a few punches, and I tested that, right? I fucking tested that because I was like, wait a minute, what if that happens to me? What if I get fatigued and I fucking, you know... And so I kind of tested it. I kind of like picked up my practice sword and went at it a little bit, and then threw a few punches, and then I was like, okay, so let me try to wind myself a little bit. Let's see what's gonna happen. And so I started like punching my stupid Vertagear chair, which is already fucking ruined, so it doesn't matter. Not really putting all my all into it, but like, you know, going for a bit. Don't bully me for bullying the chair, okay? It's just that, like, for some reason this chair is very punchable, okay? The one that I'm using, the one I'm sitting on right now, it's for some reason it's very punchable. I don't know why. And so, you know, eventually I got to a point, like after a bit, where I stopped, right? I was like, okay, you know, you just relax and stop. And then it hit me. I was like, okay, now I'm feeling like I can't go on, for example. And then after like a few seconds, I felt that leaving me. So was I fatigued? Was it something else? Like, it looked, externally, it would have looked like that, I would assume. Because that's the point where I would probably just like dip a little in like in how energetic I would be. But was I really tired? I don't think I was, because I could continue afterwards, which I did test further by doing some exercises and shit. And I was like, okay, so if I can do that, all right, isn't it possible that what Tyler perceived as fatigue or as being winded was something similar? So I don't think like you can trust that too much, I would say. I don't think you can trust that too much. I don't think that's like, you would have to observe the person like for, you know, during practice to be able to tell for real like what their limits are. So I wanted to comment on that. And sometimes, you know, some people are, you know, some people have a slow burn in general. So I have that a little bit. Like I can't start like jumping around. Like if you were to spar with me, for example, right? You would notice that I would start like pretty like low. It would seem like I'm pretty low on energy. And then as things go on, the more interested I am, the more engaged I am, the more energetic I get. And then it reaches, as I said, that point where I do get physically tired. And then I have to tell myself, all right, well, just chill. And then you chill and then you continue. It's pretty weird to describe. I'm trying my best, but like, this isn't to say that like, oh, I have ungodly stamina or something like that, but like, it's to say that different people deal with it different ways. Different people burn out at different speeds and exert themselves at different speeds as well. And there are many ways to keep going even if you're tired without losing much. It all has to do with like, you know, conserving your energy and being practical and keeping it, you know, keeping it functional and simple. If you're feeling a little bit low on energy, for example, you know, there's many ways, right? Just as there are ways to actually practice while being low on energy, for example, to prepare for that, right? And that's something that is done. That is like facts, right? You do. There is training that, you know, you have to do to kind of like get used to actually performing when you're winded. Okay. So I mean that's not new. That's not like something that should surprise anyone. So I find that statement dangerous in the sense of like, oh, this guy looks like, you know, he's winded. I could probably take him. Nah, I wouldn't rely on that. So there is that, for example. And this has nothing to do with like either Tyler or Chad again. I'll call him Chad because it's just funny. Because he clearly has that like fake Chad energy. But anyway, that's not the point. The point being that like, yeah, you can, yeah, totally, right? And then you also have the opposite, where you see like really fit looking people, and really like, you know, you'd look at them and you'd say, oh, that person is a probably, you know, is probably a fucking angel. Like he can go forever or something just because of like their posture or all that shit. But that can also be misleading. So you can't really base on that. Like, in fact, if you asked me, I would say don't worry too much about your opponent. In that sense, worry about yourself. Forget your opponent in those cases. Don't try to gauge your opponent all the time. You're just keeping your brain busy. You're not achieving much, like worrying about whether they're tired or not, or just do what you're about to do. Just you do you and let them handle their side, I would say, honestly, in that case. And you know, yeah. So regardless of whether or not Shad, fine, I'll call him Shad, looks winded, that's really not the issue there. That's not what you should be, you know, basing on, I think. That's my personal opinion, like, you know, subjective, humble personal opinion, I would say. Now then, Tyler goes on to mention criticizing, while criticizing Shad, he mentions crossing your legs. So now that's a huge debate. As huge as would a spin work, okay? And there are many like ways to answer that, and there are many correct answers and many as well wrong answers. It really depends on so many things. Like for example, when I was training, right, we were taught or encouraged, I don't know how you would call that, but it was made known to us, all right, that it's generally beneficial to try and separate your functions on your body, if that makes sense. I'm going somewhere with that, okay? So for example, the easiest way to talk about that, and hey, keep in mind, for all intents and purposes, even my teacher could be wrong, okay? But so far, I haven't seen anything that indicates that, you know, he was. So here's the thing. The easiest example is to think of your upper body and lower body as two separate things and to try to be comfortable with each performing a function. So as an example, I know it sounds pretty crazy, but like it's actually pretty simple and logical if you think about it. So let's say that you want to kick someone, right? To use your feet to strike at a target, okay? That shouldn't affect your upper body, or it should affect it to a minimum degree. Okay. Of course, some certain strikes to certain areas, you know, certain ways to strike at a target or something will be made easier if your whole body is contributing, right? But that's like a specific purpose, like then it has a purpose. But when you can do something without engaging your upper body, for example, with your lower body, then do that. This can include movement. Movement in the sense of circling around the target or just moving back and forth or shuffling or whatever else you want to do with your feet. And so, you know, if you can, God, it's so hard to put it in words. But for example, among the ways of strafing around your target, maybe to sidestep, maybe to do other things to evade something. My teacher, for example, told me that like taught us and showed us that like, for example, you can literally just walk and keep walking, not in a shuffling way, but like pretty normally, which, holy shit, I wish I could demonstrate that, but first of all, I'm wearing a skirt and it's a long skirt. And second of all, I'm shy, I'm camera shy, so I can't really show you that. But it's like, okay, so imagine that your upper body needs to be locked facing front, right? Let's imagine that. Doesn't matter if there is a purpose, just go with it for now. Let's assume that the circumstances demand that you do that your body keeps facing forward, or at least at your target, right? Full fucking Dark Souls, you're locked onto that shit, okay? Now, for whatever reason, and I'm building my example, okay? For whatever reason, you need to start walking to the side and circling around what your upper body is facing, right? Okay, so you can do that by sidestepping. You can do that by shuffling your feet. You can do that with a small like jump or small jumps, a succession. You can also do it by, is it called pivoting? I think it's called pivoting, right? When you do like that turn kind of thing, depending. And it can also be done by literally just your lower body walking straight into the direction that you want to go. But your upper body is still locked where you want to be, okay? Think of yourself as a mech from Mech Warrior, okay? Where you're facing your target, but the legs, right, they're still going in one direction. Do you see what I'm saying? So So that, for example, seen from the front, would that not look like you're crossing your legs? Not only that, but actually you can, in certain circumstances you should, actually cross your legs. But when I say cross your legs, I don't mean like in a way that you're gonna get tangled up, but in a way where, for example, your feet are facing forward and they are spread apart, and then you lift your right foot and you put it like beyond your left foot, right? And then your other foot, your left foot, then takes another step, and then and they keep crossing, right? And that's not necessarily wrong. So it's really just the context in which this is done, right? And in fact, to prepare for example, for a spinning kick, right? Let's call it, because like I'm not good with names, but let's call it a spinning kick, okay? A strike in which you have to use your leg, your back or front leg, coming in from a spin, right? So turning your back momentarily, for example. So to do that, to see if that's safe to do, you would twist your front leg, let's say, all right? You're balancing on the ball of the foot right now, okay? Just imagine that. So you present your heel, so to speak, of your front foot while it is connected to the ground with your ball, right? The balls of your feet. All right, and then you twist your hip slightly, all right? At that point, you are ready to do that fabled spin attack, okay? Which basically means that if you lift your leg, okay, and just turn your torso, you're gonna spin, right? And you have a blind spot supposedly in that moment, all right? So to prevent that blind spot and to maintain eye contact with your target, right? Because you need to see what your target is reacting, what way they're reacting to you setting up this thing, right? You will turn your torso and you will look peripheral vision. You're gonna look at your target with your, from the side. I wish I could show you, really. It's so simple. Like in words, it's a fucking text brick, but if I show you, it's simple. Like the principle is very simple, and it's a very safe way to check if you can go through with a motion or not. And if you can't, you can just very easily reset your position. So that too, in a way, can be considered crossing your legs. So really, standing, standing with your legs crossed is stupid. But mid-motion, depending on the motion, I guess this is the point, it's okay to cross your legs. But you just have to be very sure, and you're gonna have to commit from that point on, obviously, to the movement, to the motion you're committing to, right? Because after a point, you can't really recover it. But you can definitely set up your feet in such a way that you're preparing, to check your target, then twist your torso, check your target again, because you've twisted your hips as well. So, now you can catch them very quickly with your peripheral vision, and then you're ready to either go back to reset it or to commit, right? And so that can also be considered that, and that also, even though Tyler never said anything about it, I think it's worth saying that's how also a potential spinning attack should be performed and works. If you just spin, right, just decide to just spin, you will lose contact, visual contact with your target for enough time for them to react, especially if they're well trained. So that would be, it would be potentially faster and less telegraphed, but you're basing on surprise and nothing else. Okay, and there are some cases where that would also be beneficial, but then we're taking into account like what has happened before. Maybe you've already, you've already hit your opponent and they're in a way where 100% they can't react, or at least maybe 90%, that they won't have time to react, they won't have time to recover from what you just did. Therefore, giving you time to do that, where you know that it's not likely that they will have, they'll be ready to react, right? So there is that as well. So, you know, all these things, like, you know, it's yes and no. Like, the answer is always the yes and no. Like, it really depends, I guess, is also an answer. Like, it really fucking depends. Both for a spinning attack and for like crossing your legs in certain circumstances. But yeah, I would say it's not necessarily a mistake, but like, if your neutral stance involves you sitting cross-legged or crossing your legs, then probably that is a mistake, I would say. You're easily, you know, you can be thrown off balance easy. First of all, like, let's start with the most basics of why that would be wrong. You can be caught in such a way by a push that you won't be able to even, you know, to even completely safely break the fall. Because, you know, if you get pushed, then you're gonna fall. You should fall. You shouldn't try to resist that. You should actually go down and try to break the fall and then recover. But that would be made harder if your legs are crossed. Not impossible, but why would you, though? Why would you put yourself in that position? I would say it is as wrong or as not so correct as having a very deep and low stance where your legs are inadvertently exposed at that point. Because, you know, I don't know if you know that, but like, your legs are longer than your arms, right? I hope, for your sake, okay? Otherwise, I'm talking to fucking gorillas. But like, your legs are, if you have a deep and low stance, and that is like your neutral stance, right? You're exposing your knees and your feet, if not more important parts. But those are gonna be the more like exposed, I would say. Like your knee especially. Like, imagine like a deep and low stance. So ideally you don't want that. It's also gonna cause more exertion, because, you know, you're effectively squatting at that point. Okay, always half squatting at that point. Okay, so that's not beneficial to anyone. And besides, like, you know, how would that fit in a very tight space anyway? Like, if it's a corridor, for example, how would you how would you fucking do that, right? There's not enough space, depending. But anyway, yeah, I don't think that, like, I think like a good neutral stance is a strong basis, honestly. Which also ties in with what I said, where, for example, your upper body and your lower body should be functioning like sort of separately, or you should be able to like not lock them and then not allow your upper body to move a little bit independently from your lower body, for example, you know, if that makes sense. Don't forget, I'm not a, you know, English is not my primary, and I'm trying to talk about stuff that I haven't voiced for a long time. I haven't had to. And I'm trying to put them in words, and it's like, it's easier to show them than it is to talk about them. Trust me, it's much easier, and it makes a lot more sense. But, you know, I'm just streaming, so I can't really bother, and I'm shy. So that point with the crossed legs, you can't go, oh, look at this person when they're doing this thing, they're crossing their legs, it is 100% wrong, that is like wrong. You know, you can't really say that. It really fucking depends. It really, really depends. I'm not saying that Sad is some kind of like expert. I'm just saying it's an interesting point, and I wanted to discuss it. Like, that's how I treat everything that I'm talking about right now. Okay, just interesting points worth of discussion, nothing else. I don't care about the beef between short guys and angry streamers. I just care about points that I hear, and I like debating. So, you know, of course I'm gonna do that. And then, okay. Tyler also says, referring to some other short guy, look at short guy A. The way he's posturing, like the way he's standing, the way this, the way that. That is also misleading. You can't really tell if the person is going to be good at combat by the way they're standing, talking to a camera. Yeah, having, not standing like all tied up and like, fucking pushing your legs close to each other, like you don't have like your center is off a little bit and you can be pushed and thrown off balance easily. Yeah, sure, okay. But at the same time, for example, even at my peak, right, there were times where I would stand in such a way, especially when I was out clubbing, for example, and that I used to, hey, listen, I'm a little bit of a I've stood in ways like, for example, one of my favorite ways to stand when I'm out is basically put, let's say, 65-70% of my weight on my back leg, on my right leg, let's say, and then my left leg is like literally on the ball of the foot and just like a little bit in front. Like, it's a stance that if you saw it, you would say, oh, that person is so easy to push. That person doesn't know how to stand and probably can't fight, if you go by Tyler's logic, but you would be wrong. And so that too, I really can't support that. Because even during sparring, for example, I would stop. All right, I would stop, and this is like some fucking 600 IQ moves, okay? Maybe minus 600, but they worked. So I would stop, I would completely drop my guard, and I would assume a stance of like, okay, this is me standing on a traffic light. That's it. Like, I'm just regarding you. That's all I'm doing. I was smiling as well sometimes because I was having a good time, and it really made the other person stop and lose their tempo. Because I had no tempo. I had no, like, imagine like sparring with someone and they just go like, okay, just relaxing. And you're like, okay, do I take that opportunity? Do I not take that opportunity? What's going on here? That's confusion and surprise. And trust me, it works. It kind of works. It depends on the person as well. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can employ such things. It's not unreasonable. So if I was to start, for example, a martial arts channel, and during my presentation, all right, I was standing in front of the camera, not as you would stand to have a good, reasonable balance, would you think, oh, that person can't fight for shit? You'd be wrong. You'd just be wrong. You just got fooled. That's it. So I would say that is also not really a telltale sign, And as for your posture, I mean, my teacher, for example, at one point was like, hey, I would like you guys, okay, to not have such an assuming stance, because a lot of people do this thing where before they strike, for example, they go into stance, that no matter how good your stance is, you're already telegraphing something that you're ready to fight. You're already telegraphing that you're ready to fight. Like, the other guy knows now, okay? They will take it into account. You will alert them. But if you can initiate from like a completely neutral stance, like out of nowhere, that is like a bit of concealment there, right? That's a bit of concealment there. So, there is something to be said about that as well. When you want to look formidable and combative, yeah, because, yeah, of course, I mean, listen, I'm gonna unashamedly admit it that there have been times where I felt like flexing a little bit. So, I'm standing in a crowd, and I'm standing tall, and it's like, chest out, belly in, your shoulders are relaxed, your arms on your side, and you do look like someone who can kick ass, right? But do you want to look that way? I mean, think about it a little bit, right? You probably don't. unless you just want to self-indulge a little bit, right? To kind of like ride the hype a little bit. Like maybe you've trained for 20 years and you find yourself thinking, I deserve that because I can actually fucking do something if something happens. So, you know, I can just, you know, flex a little bit, you know. I can posture a little bit. It's okay. I got a nice body. I know what's up. You know, I can do that, and I understand that. I mean, it's what I've done that. I've done that for real, and it feels nice. You feel confident, you know. But do you want your opponents to know that? Do you want to give that message? Some people, interestingly enough, will pick up on that. Okay, some people will pick up, bullies will pick up on that, for example. Bullies will pick up on that. So do you want to signal them? I think you don't want to. Because, you know, you want to kind of like not go there, right? So why would you? I'm not saying appear meek as fuck or something, but, you know, just like my teacher said, just appear like an ordinary dude. Like, just appear like that's your natural place to be, and you're just there, and you're just relaxed and standing there. That's all you're doing. There's nothing else. Nothing is going on. You know, everything is cool. It's a good day, you know. So yeah, I would say that is also not a sign of whether or not, well, in our example, our dear fighter, Shad, can fight or not. It's not an example. Or you know, short guy A can fight or not. Like, you can't really. Probably they can, you know, because you know the background, but you also don't know their spirit, because, you know, you can't see that through a YouTube video, of course. You know, you don't know them. So yeah, it's kind of like 50-50 if they really would or wouldn't, or, you know. And by the way, again, like, you shouldn't be bothering too much with that. Leave that to your opponent, okay? You should have a clear head, and you shouldn't be thinking what the other person can or can't do, because that's like an infinite, like, possibilities loop that feeds into itself, and you don't want to be caught on that, you know. Like, all these anime observations, like, oh, look at this guy's like right eye, it's looking there, so that guy must have like excellent peripheral. It's not gonna be like that. It really doesn't work that way. Yeah, you can tell a few things. You can tell a few things by someone's like demeanor or like, but it's gonna be like a huge combination of things, half of which you can only like, you know, glimpse at if the person is actually there, you know. I don't think it's safe to just assume someone's like combat ability and assess it, you know, accurately over like how they stand in a video, right? I don't think that's like correct, honestly. So I'd argue that point as well. And then Tyler goes to something more specific. So you see, Shad being Shad, of course, because he's a charlatan, has constructed what appears to be an unholy union of two swords, the equivalent of a double dildo, but with swords. And the way he's combined these two weapons is through lots of duct tape and a probably not so well welded L-shaped iron or other kind of metal bar, you know, the kind of which you would use on a wall to then attach like a shelf, right? That kind of thing. And he's using that to essentially connect the swords. Not two of these, one of these. So essentially you can't even, you wouldn't even be able to grip that properly. You would probably hurt yourself, and it would probably all fall apart. But anyway, that's beyond the point. I will assume, you know what, for these examples to work, I will have to assume that the structural integrity of that fucking abomination is 10 out of 10. because if we start going into mechanical and technical details of that construction, we're gonna be here all day. So let's assume it's like that's it. It's unbreakable. Okay, infinite fucking durability. Like it's unbreakable. Like the swords are not gonna fall apart. They're gonna stay. Let's assume that. Okay. So then Tyler says. So Sad in that segment holds the contraption, the device or whatever the fuck that thing is, that double-bladed thingy. He holds it like over his shoulder, over his right shoulder, and he's gripping it. And now Tyler assumes that like one of the sides of Shad is vulnerable to sidestepping and flanking attacks, and then advises while laughing that if I saw a guy, to paraphrase, holding like a weapon of some kind like that, I would sidestep from the point from the side where there is no pointy stick, and then the other person can't react. And ironically, he also says that Shad thinks in turn-based, but to think that, you're now thinking in turn-based. Dude, it's so easy. Like if you have a spear, right, or a halberd, or a short staff, or anything at all, okay? Even a shepherd's crook, right? And you're holding it that way, then it only takes like minimal movement, less movement than you would do to flank that person. It takes less movement from that person to threaten you again, regardless of your sidestepping. They would threaten you. They would be able to strike at you very accurately and very fast, faster than you would be finishing your maneuver or whatever it is you think you're doing. And also you're assuming the person's legs and feet are not going to move either. Now, Shad's legs might not move, but in that case, he can very easily just twist his torso or adjust, with his arms, his pole arms pointy stick, to now be looking at you as you're sidestepping and then poke at you, and you're dead. Okay? So it's a little bit debatable if that would completely neutralize like Shad's like power levels. Okay? So in that scenario, it's kind of I think it's pure ignorance there. Tyler admits that he's not a sword guy, therefore he doesn't have experience, but he admitted that I don't know anything, but like it looks to me like you could just sidestep. No, you can't. You'd have to have a far more complicated or complex play in your mind to just casually see the other person raising their death stick and pointing it at you, and you go, oh, I'll just sidestep. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Unless you have like a solid plan and you know what you're doing with your own weapon, or, well, if you're very unlucky without a weapon. So yeah, I don't think that's like legit advice there. Then Tyler goes on to comment on fencing, assuming that you've seen Olympic fencers, right? They have this narrow corridor, and they're both like on the ends of the corridor, and they engage, and all they care about is to score a point by, touching with the tip of the weapon some valid target on the opponent, right? And that's a point. Okay? So that, while that could be lethal as a skill, so could, bringing a double-bladed staff and knowing how to use it. All right, so it's, and especially a person who has trained their mind to think linearly and to think, and their body functions with bursts of high energy focused on speed and also, obviously maintaining safety for themselves. It's not the same as fighting. I would not say it's the same. It can be lethal because that's a sword and that goes into your body, and if that's like a vital point, well, you'll die, or at best, you'll bleed badly, and you will be in terrible pain. But is it like the end all be all? It's not. Like neither the skill nor the speed nor the high bursts of extreme energy from the other person are like the end all be all. Because then Tyler says that's how they dueled, like in ancient ages. They went like no armor, no armor. All right, first man to kill the other man wins. And so yeah, piercing strike, and then someone dies and someone lives. It is so much more complicated than that. It is very complicated. It's not as simple as that. If it was that simple, then all we would need, literally all we would need, is just a punch, and then it would all be a matter of like who can propel themselves faster with that like one punch man kind of thing into the other person's like torso and explode them. Okay? So no, that's really, dueling in general is an aspect of combat, and it's a good skill to have, to be able to enter a designated arena with limits, and then in a designated like time be able to strike at a designated target on an opponent. Yeah, it's an extremely useful skill to have, but it is not the end all be all. And then he shows, he goes and checks a video, and even his chat was kind of like picking up on it and saying, hey, these skills, and paraphrasing again, these skills won't necessarily translate into combat skills. That's just not how it works. And that doesn't, it's not mutually exclusive with the fact that these people are very explosive if they want to be. Okay? But that doesn't actually make them excellent fighters, for example, right? It has to be said. Not even, in a way, not even excellent fighters are excellent fighters, because, again, like all it takes is like some bad luck, and you're out, even if you're skilled. So it's kind of like a whole debate. You can't just say, look at these fencers, these guys are fucking bullets, they will strike you so hard. Like, all of this is so debatable. Like, it's all relative. It's all relative, and it's all like, it depends on the situation and like visibility, a lot of things. It's like your own like reaction to seeing someone charging you like that. It's like, it's so much. It's honestly just so much. Then he goes into another example of finding people who could trust Chad, as if that's like some kind of milestone. But like, then he shows Kendo practitioners, if I remember correctly. Kendo or Gumdo or some other strange art with like wooden swords like mine, who are not allowed certain strikes, they're not allowed certain movements, they're not allowed this, they're not allowed that. It's not actually practical martial art, even that is like fact. And then Tyler goes like, oh, they would smash Shad. Well, I don't know about Shad specifically. Who knows? Maybe Shad would be smashed. Who the fuck knows? But like, this is again the same case as with like Olympic fencing. They're very good at what they do. They have they have their own meta on how to defeat another opponent of that practice, and that's all that can be said about it. And yeah, it's impressive, and their physique is impressive, and their durability and all that. But you can get that if you're preparing for combat, if you're preparing yourself for combat for some reason, you get all that. You get enough of that to be able to stand more than a chance. To be able to to work in such a situation with your body, right? So yeah, it's a little bit iffy. Like, those statements, I found them to be quite iffy, all of them. Not necessarily wrong, but definitely debate worthy. But yeah, it was interesting. Now, as for Sad's little weapon, so Could that thing work? Could that thing work? A spoon can work. A spoon can be lethal. Okay, so in that context, yeah, I guess it can work. I guess it can. Like, unironically, it probably could. It's still like a dangerous instrument, right? It's still like it's still a blade pointed at you. And regardless of advantages or disadvantages, in the stratosphere of meta in sword fighting, it is still at its core a blade pointed at you, and a few bad moves will end with you butchered. So I don't know. There is this like old saying, like, you know, don't underestimate your opponent. Don't put them on a pedestal either, but yeah, because when a guy comes swinging at you with a plastic bag filled with like ice cold beer cans, and that thing catches your head, you're gonna have a horrible day. Okay, you're gonna have a very bad day if you don't avoid that. So in that same sentence, or in the same sentiment, not sentence, that thing, as flimsy as it looks, it's still a fucking blade. It's still dangerous. So, yeah. And then there is another guy in chat there who jumps in and says, you know, even if Shad was wearing like full plate mail armor or whatnot, eventually it would boil down to two angry dudes that are tired and are like exchanging like punches, and then one of them pulls out a knife and you know, the usual, you've heard it, slides it like between the plates and some shit like that. Okay, yeah, listen, if you train for combat in combat gear, you train with your combat gear, otherwise you're dumb as fuck. Okay, so you know the weaknesses of wearing armor, you know its weak spots, and you adjust your guard, you adjust like your reactions to the weaknesses and strengths of what you're wearing, you know. And that means that in most circumstances, what that chatter said will not be the case. Not more or less than it would have been if they wore no armor. Because you can take the same argument and say, for example, you know, because if you're using this argument to neutralize the argument of what if Shad is wearing full armor, you know, that's a fallacy. Like, because like, yeah, I can also take a gun and like shoot at you, and then you'll be dead. But is that the question, though? You know what I mean? So it's a little bit shaky as an argument as well. You know, it's kind of like weird. You know. Now, does that any of that mean that like Shad warrants defense? No. Does it mean that Tyler is correct? Also no. Does it mean that either would win? Who knows? Who the fuck knows? I just found the points interesting. I'm not trying to you know, to insert myself in that whole thing, but these points were quite interesting. As well, it's kind of debatable as well whether or not a Japanese sword, so a katana, which essentially just means blade, I think. So a katana style sword, so a blade like that, would that be effective when, you know, when used, you know, as they use it in kendo or gumdo or whatever the fuck, against someone wearing full plate armor? I'm not so sure. That's highly debatable. So there's also that. And then also I think I've seen some tests of a proper fucking rapier against not plate mail, but like chain mail, all right? And it takes a considerable amount of practice. So you have to know what you're doing for sure to have a hope of like finding, of your blade actually penetrating all the way through, breaking the rings a little bit, splitting them a little bit, and going in there. It will depend on the width of the blade. It will depend on your technique a lot. Depends on the quality of the armor, depends on how the body is going to react, because don't forget that like these targets are not reacting. They are just, well, they're just gonna take it. But your body is going to react. Like if you just for a split second feel that your integrity is threatened, your physical integrity is threatened, you will twist your torso, it will kind of slide on the side, it will... So many variables. You can't just say, oh, you know what? I kicked a rapier through metal armor, and that means that metal armor will not protect against it. That is not a valid statement. Okay? Because we're not taking into account the dynamic of, like, an actual person reacting to that, It would certainly take someone, very skilled and very experienced in fencing to actually one-shot you through armor that doesn't have links, for example, or is not basically threaded chain or whatnot, to like literally fucking kill you like that, or severely wound you. It would take, I imagine, like considerable skill and technique, and perhaps even then maybe it just can't be done, because maybe metal plates will probably not react the same way as chainmail, and your body is not going to react as a target. So who the fuck knows, right? I don't know, and they don't know. All anyone can do is like set up a target and go like, okay, piercing strike, there we go, And even then, in the test that I saw, it wasn't guaranteed that the rapier will go through the chainmail. And that's not plate mail, that's chainmail, so it does have links, right? So that is like the structural integrity is kind of like a disadvantage there against like a very thin piercing weapon, right? So yeah. And I think I saw like a thicker blade, so wider than a rapier, actually penetrating. But that was I think a test with a knife that is supposedly designed to go through if you push it in the right way and put your weight in there and blah blah. But that assumes that the target is gonna let you do that. So it's kind of like, or that they don't know how to react to you grabbing them by the shoulder and going like, aha, and stabbing them, It's really not as easy as it sounds. It's also very intimidating. I don't know if you know, but it's a very intimidating thing. The closer you are to your opponent, like even in just like MMA, for example, right? When two people are close, or at least that's my experience, okay? When you get close to your opponent, because like when you're not close to your opponent, you have this false sense of security. Like, I've got my legs, I've got my arms, they're never getting close, I'll punch them if they try to. Something like that, Which we won't discuss if that is false or not. We will discuss the sensation of someone invading your personal space to a point where you're looking at them in the eye, You're like there. And you can't clearly see what's going on like below your chest, and you can't clearly see what's going on, but you can see your opponent like right there. And even as someone who is striking, who is in the offensive in this scenario, you also have to overcome something similar, because you're gonna be close to the other person. You have to get close in there. So for example, when someone says, oh, if someone has spear, if like if sword person A has a spear and sword person B has like a dagger, let's say, okay, or a short sword of some kind, like an arming sword, or I don't know, something like that. And the advice is, you gotta get in there. How are you gonna like convince yourself to do that? Like, it takes like it takes a lot to have, you know, to do that in a real situation. Which, by the way, if you find yourself in a real situation with someone using a spear against you, where exactly are you? Where do you live? Where do you live, for fuck's sake? Like, move, you know, move to another country or something, you know, because that shit, yeah, whatever. You get what I'm saying. You get the joke, but yeah, it's also not a joke. I guess, you know, it's not the circumstances you'll be encountering, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared for it. I guess if you want to be combat ready, I suppose. But yeah, okay. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Honestly, it's not as simple as making a video, and it's also not as simple at the same time as making a video to debate that video and just go like, oh, if I was there, I would have done this and that, and yeah, the other person doesn't know shit. Yeah, sure, I'm not saying that Sad knows anything. Like, I can't stress this enough. This has moved beyond these two clowns, okay? It is just like, I'm just discussing what I've noticed, that's all. And again, like, also can't be stressed enough, I'm not a fucking expert or anything. It's just like what I've observed, like in those 10 plus years. That's what I've observed, you know. And then also another point of debate, right? Okay, so and this one is important for this stream, actually, for this conversation. So Tyler at one point says, if you don't do the thing, you can't talk about the thing, to quote. This is a fallacy. I don't need to be a chef to understand how food works, all right? And I don't need to be a scientist, again, to understand why eating and what I should eat and what is good for me. You know, not only are there sources for it, not only are there other people who have fact-checked, but you can also feel it as well. And most of all, you know, you don't have to be an expert in anything to criticize a few elements of it, right? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't, because if you don't, if you just shut up, then, you know, how are you going to have a conversation, a dialogue, which will lead to you and the other person exchanging opinions? And you get it? I don't have to, do I have to spell it out for you, like how dialogue works and what the merits of talking is? I shouldn't have to point that out, I guess. Or I hope, you know. But like, if you don't do the thing, don't talk about the thing. I can't fucking agree with that, because I, for example, have done the thing, and I was very good at the thing, but it's been years, so now I can only talk 45% about it, but not 100%. Like, what is this logic? Like, it has like. What if I do the thing and then I'm in an accident that I can't do the thing and now I can't talk about it? Huh? What? That doesn't work. Or what if I, you know, dude, maybe I've never shot a gun in my life, but maybe I know exactly how many rounds that particular model has, and I've observed factually that the person has fired all of their fucking ammunition and they don't have any ammunition, so now I know that they don't have ammunition and I can go in. That is like such a stupid example, but just like bear with me a little, okay? Stupid examples. Stupid things warrant stupid examples. So I should tell myself I have never fired a gun, therefore I don't know what I'm talking about, therefore I shouldn't go out there. It's just... that doesn't make sense. Like, none of this makes... like, this argument is so stupid. If you don't do the thing, don't talk about the thing. What if I know about the thing? What if I have done it in the past? Okay, what if I... like... come on, what if I have actually fought people who have done the thing and I know what they can do? What then? I can't talk about it? Like, that's it? I have no fucking... I have no credibility? That's it? I mean... I don't fucking know. Is that like a correct argument? I don't think it's a good argument. So no, even if you're a silly little person like I am, okay, and you have like a silly little stream like I do, and you want to talk martial arts, you can. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? Someone will pop in and say, hey, did you know, factually, this and that is not correct? And then I will be like, oh, let me see. And then I'll know I'm wrong. And that's, you know, again, that ties into the dialogue thing that I explained earlier, right? That's how you, that's how it happens. That's how that works, okay? So, yeah. I don't know what to tell you, but I see, like, I see that all sides, like, are quite fucking problematic. I don't know. And so I want to talk about it and like maybe give my own 2 cents about all these things. I don't fucking know. Actually being, you know, being in any situation that can be described as combat, not sparring, combat, is rare as it is for the average person. Again, depends where you live and depends what your job is, because your job might be to, you know, maybe you're a merc or something, you know. But like for most people, these situations cannot be replicated correctly. So trying to judge this and that's effectiveness is quite difficult. And you know, you can actually just test it and test it and test it and test it and test it, or others can, and you can learn about it that way as well. As long as you know, double check and you cross reference and everything, and you can talk about it, and there's no problem with that, you know. And then we also have like the individual factor, like, because every one of us will experience these things differently, which is also what makes it very interesting to debate stuff, because like, you know, yeah, we experience all that differently. Like someone else might be like, oh, what are you talking about? I've tried spinning in combat and it never works. You know, that's their experience, and that in and on itself is a whole other conversation, because you can go like, all right, but how did you do it and what happened? And then you go into circumstances and you go into specifics and you go into like, and it's yeah. And that's why it's usually best to just, you know, to keep things as simple as possible and as effective as possible. And that's the only thing I will agree with. So yeah, I don't know. That was interesting though. The whole fucking thing was interesting. But yeah, aside from that, I don't think I had much else to talk about. I just wanted to stream for a couple of hours, and just, you know, say these things out loud, for example. I don't know. One important thing that I always come back to when it comes to martial arts, though, and this is unrelated, okay? That's like the other thing is done. Like I talked about it, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I would just you know, just keep an open mind and don't be quick to judge, and also don't underestimate people. Also don't overestimate them, and also, like, you know, keep in mind that like things are kind of fluid when it comes to fighting. Things are very fluid, and sometimes, you know, shit happens. Who the fuck knows? Some things you never thought might be the case might actually be the case. So, you know, who knows? But yeah, short guys on the internet are fun. Though I'm sticking with Scalagrim. I don't know. I'm sticking with that guy. Like that guy is my spirit animal when it comes to short guys. I like that guy. I don't know. He seems very chill, and I like his videos. They're nice. Honestly, he's easy to listen to. Honestly. But so yeah, I don't know. It's all good, I guess, in the end. So the thing I wanted to say that is not related to that is something that I just literally just now forgot. Just now. it disappeared from my thoughts. It's like, boom, gone. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the thing to keep in mind is to, when you train in martial arts, like in any kind of combative doctrine or whatever you want to call it, okay? Try to break it into pieces. Try to cut your life into no, but for real, try to isolate elements of it until you can see a pattern there. When you see the pattern there, you can take that and make it your own and skip all the nonsense. So, for example, have you seen Polish saber fighting? Have you seen that? All right, so that has that seems to be having an interesting style of cutting, right? And of movement with the sword. So you could take that, and when you want to cut at something, you can use that, for example. That is like a very nice cutting technique, right? And very fluid and very circular. Then you can take, for example, more linear and hard strikes and incorporate them for what you need to do in the moment. So what I'm saying is mix and match, and always have like it boils down to, it always will boil down to two things, I think. Maybe more, but like off the top of my head, two things come to mind right now. Tactics, all right? Because that comes like, that tactics is everywhere. From the way you talk and walk to the way you're going to move in a certain terrain, tactics is like the bread and butter. It's like, it's fucking, yeah, it's like the basis, Without that, without being able to think tactically and react tactically, no matter what you're gonna fail. So yeah, that is like a big part of it. Even down to individual like combat, it does come to tactics. Tactics can include everything from like your posture and your stance to your whole plan, to your move. What's your move? When I say move, I mean like what's the plan? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna like because in the few frames that are allowed in the moment, you will make certain decisions. So that is tactics, So yeah, tactics is one of the things that is very, very important and fundamental. And I think the other one is actually your or what my teacher called your fighting spirit, right? So now talking about that is a huge fucking subject, because this is, if you take it too far, you're gonna start talking about ki, you're gonna start talking about energy, you're gonna start talking about all that. But you know what, strip all that away. Just the important part is your will to be in that situation, let's say, all right? Because it takes willpower to be in that situation where you would fight. If you don't have the willpower to do it, you're gonna break before your body does. Okay? So what does it matter? So your spirit, your fighting spirit, like, that thing, you call it whatever you want. But that is as equally important as tactics. All right? Because you have to have that. Because if you don't have that, you can know all the tactics in the world and you won't be able to do it. Because your mind is not in it, your body is not in it, your mind is not in it, your nothing is in it, your emotions are not in it, like you're not feeling it, you ain't gonna do it. It's simple as that. So without that, tactics can work even without that. Hello, Kaori, how are you doing? But for tactics to work, you also have to believe in yourself. You have to believe. Fool? What do you mean fool? Ate food? Oh, I'm doing that afterwards. I'm definitely doing that afterwards. Need dessert? I'm right here. You can eat me one spoonful at a time. You can sink your teeth in me. You can... I'll be your ice cream. Don't worry about that. What was I saying? Holy shit. Yeah, so I think tactics and fighting spirit work together, and I think one without the other can work, but only to an extent. And then if I had to add the third element, I would say that's your physical form. And by that I mean like everything. Like your stamina, your strength, your everything. You know, so the tools that you have, how conditioned are they to what you need them to do, right? So there's also that. I guess then three things are quite fucking important. But yeah, it's interesting, and that's for the kendo and the other stuff. So you have to understand, sports are very different. Sports are a very different thing because we can all agree that like the less you have on your mind, the more you can function, the more freely, more safely you can focus on what is important, right? So if there are rules, your mind is more free and you don't really learn to fight that way. So for example in kendo, right, you can't really just, when you lock swords, when you lock your bamboo sticks with each other, and you're feeling each other and you're doing that thing, you know, which they do quite often, you can't really kick them in the groin, can you? It's not allowed, and you both know it, and that is like one worry off your head. So even though now you have the skill to do certain things, you have not learned certain other things. In fact, you've learned to ignore them. In fact, instinctively, you might in the moment assume that your opponent will also ignore them. And that is dangerous. That is very, very dangerous. So, you know, because someone might just have pocket sand and fuck you up with that. Like, did you know that like pocket sand is a thing? It's an actual thing. Bouncers sometimes do have bags in their pockets with fucking sand that they will throw in your eyes, and then you're fucked. As simple as that. So you know, you can't just. You get the point. You get what I'm saying. It's such an old concept anyway. It's a tired concept. But yeah, pocket sand. Surprisingly, pocket sand is a thing. It's literally a thing. And sand in your eyes is just like it's not good. It doesn't feel good, honestly. But yeah, if you had that one friend or that one cousin or brother who at the beach would for fun just grab some sand and go like, oh, you know, and you eat that in the face and you don't expect him, and now you're running for water. You're just literally half blind running to the sea to clean that shit up, but then there is salt in the sea and then that's worse, and it's like you know. So yeah, no, pocket sand is an actual thing. Actually, it's pretty frightening if you ask me, because if you want to be extra nasty, you can have some ground glass in there, and then good fucking luck. Okay, good fucking luck with that shit. Like in general, when you see someone reaching for their inventory in real life, whatever their inventory is, maybe a pouch, maybe their jacket, I would say it's about time that you start like considering like safety distances and maybe considering like opening the distance a little bit, because like you never fucking know what's in there. And a lot of people are actually attuned to looking for firearms or knives when it can just be fucking pocket sand with ground glass in it. And honestly, like, yeah. So you just never know. Maybe it's just a rock, and they're gonna throw a rock at you, and then you'll die. So you know, it's time to consider, you know, some planning when that happens. But anyway, an interesting conversation. Uh, Let me just stretch a little bit. Mhm. Oh god. I mean, another example I could give with like completely just something that completely nullifies like preparation is, for example, okay, and bear with me on this one because it's a little bit of a surreal scenario, but it can happen. All right, so let's say you see someone and they just bear with me, okay, and they are now having in their hands like a sledgehammer. So a sledgehammer, okay, that's, you know, video games are gonna teach you that this thing is slow, like real life is gonna teach you that this thing is slow, blah blah blah. But then, you know, the person just doesn't use it the way you would think, and what they do is just grab it just below the head, and now they have something to punch you with in a way that will completely smash your face, and it's very very fast, and it's very doable. Okay, so you you can't really see a contraption, and again, like Sad's double sword looks shit. Okay, it's literally fucking duct tape and swords. But again, it's still something that can threaten your physical integrity. Definitely. Okay, so you know, it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't underestimate it that much because at the end of the day, like everything can be lethal. So maybe just go with that, right? Maybe just go with that. Don't be afraid of it, but at the same time, don't think, oh, it's a double it's Sad's double-bladed sword. That thing has like only 10 damage. That's not how it works. It has like 30 speed, 30 swing speed. Nope. It has like X range. Nah, it's not so simple. It's just not so simple. So yeah, I don't know. Either way, that's all I had for you as um, my first experimental, just chatting about a subject and not just like, you know, freestyling. Uh, if I can call it freestyle. Yeah. And again, I wish I could show you all the things I talked about, but I'm too shy right now, so I can't just like turn on my camera right now and just go and show you what I meant with like crossing your feet, or what I meant with like with that example of allowing your body a little bit more flexibility when it comes to working as a whole unit or as parts of a unit. I wish I could, but I'm just not high level enough in streaming to do that. And even though I've danced before on camera, and even though I've even worked out on camera, it was only one time. And wait, no, I danced two times. And you know, it's kind of, it's still like a little bit weird for me. More so if I just try to show you some stuff. And yeah, no, that's what I want to say. Going forward, I will definitely try to, instead of telling you, I would try to demonstrate the stuff I'm talking about if I can. And to what degree of success, I just don't know, because you have to remember, I'm also out of shape. So yeah, there is that. But I guess one of the interesting things to find out is what you can do when you're out of shape. That is always that was something that I was always focused on. Like even when I was at my peak, let's say, I always wondered, because I knew that I can't always be at my peak. So which of the stuff that I know and can I use when I'm out of shape? I always was curious about that. Turns out you can do a lot of stuff, by the way. Like, I don't know if I could right now, for example, I don't know if I could just jump, spin, and kick. I don't know that. I am heavier than I was then, so you know, there is lots more weight to propel upwards and diagonally. So who knows? So I'm not gonna try stuff like that until I know like that I can do it even at my current weight. But some bread and butter stuff that I tried earlier, for example, that's fine. And so yeah. Oh, and another point of that, like again, like Tyler there was criticizing Sad's physique, which, you know, Sad's physique is a little sad, okay? And so is mine. But again, like, you're not sure if the guy's winded. You're not sure what's gonna happen, and you're not sure what they can pull off, right? What Sad can pull off, and you know, the same applies, I guess, for me in a way, in the sense of like, you'd be surprised, you know, and also swinging a sword, like swinging any weapon. Honestly, I always found that easier than using your own body in combat. It's just easier. Because that thing is gonna cut anyway. So if you just swing it, you're already dangerous, kind of. So I wouldn't just like, I wouldn't go around saying, oh yeah, you know, that so and so person doesn't look like they could do much. Yeah, and it's not a safe assumption, is what I'm trying to say, which is what I experienced as well. Like, yeah, being the hash brown that I am, okay, I can still very much fucking move nimbly, okay, and an 80-kilo person or 90-kilo person moving nimbly, that is, you know, that is threatening. It is potentially, you know, dangerous. So you can't just go around and watch a YouTube video and just say, ah, that person, they're out of breath, they're out of this. I mean, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Just food for thought, I guess. Right? And now back to you. Back to our regular schedule. What dessert are you having, Kaori? Have you decided? No idea yet. Ah, God. I don't know what I'm having tonight. I've already had my cheat day, which fucking sucks now that I think about it, because I'd like today to be my cheat day. It's very relaxed, very chill Saturday evening, and I wish this was my cheat day. And I don't know what to do now. Maybe I'll have something like, I don't know, a chocolate croissant. Croissant? Yeah. Do you pronounce the T? Croissant? Something like that? Anyway, maybe I'll just do that, or maybe just fries, you know? Maybe just fries. Maybe, fries is also cheating. So maybe I'll have that. Which is like not the end of the world, you know, as a second cheat day, let's say. It's not like I'll have like a whole pizza or something, just fries, you know. Sounds good. get some tasty salt in me. But yeah. Or you know what? Alternatively, I can also try to build up the confidence right now, like in front of a live studio audience, and like show you what I meant earlier, and like demonstrate a little bit, um, and be like an ancient Chinese person, like really old, going like, "Yes, you should point your stick at the enemy, young grasshopper." Or whatever, you know, maybe do that. I don't fucking know. All right, let me think about that. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe this is a day when I start like showing you stuff. Holy shit. But other than that, no, it's a very chill stream today. And I liked talking about the stuff I talked about. Pretty cool. Martial arts are great. I love the concept. I love tactics as well. And all that conversation. And I mean, unironically, even though I do love like weapons, at the back of my head, I'm always like these. If I will maintain or retain rather, if I will retain one thing that like my teacher was always urging us to remember, was that like weapons of any sort should never be your focus. They should be just there. That is such a huge thing. That is like a huge concept. I really like that concept, honestly. I guess it could be interpreted as like the weapon being one with your weapons, but like that is such a blanket statement of like various concepts and ideologies that you can't just say that. You can't just say be one with your sword. It's not like it's not really that simple, but it also is in a way, I guess. I think the complexity is in completely understanding what it means, so that you're able to actually, have it in your head. Let's say. Down. We're getting deeper and deeper here. I wonder what happens like an hour in. An hour in, I'll be fucking, I'll be pulling Jedi mind tricks on you. We'll be killing younglings in some kind of Jedi academy or something before the night is over. Oh god. But yeah, I don't know. So what are your plans then? I have a question. If I go Guild Wars afterwards, will you join? That is like a big question. It's a big one. And another thing I wanted to do, like in these stupid silly videos that streams, not videos, that I want to do that are like themed or something. I wanted to. Okay, don't laugh. Okay, don't fucking laugh. It's just that, like it's something that I want to do eventually. Like I've been wanting to do that like for a year, maybe more than a year. I want to sit down and power scale the Warrior of Light and the Commander from Guild Wars. I want to power scale those two characters so hard. And I've never done a power scaling video, obviously, or a stream, and I've never like done anything like that. But for some reason, this has stuck with me. Like it's like at the back of my head. Eventually, I want to do that. I want to. I think the way I would do it would be to first try and I think I should do that, like all of that, like with you on stream, right? I would gather all the feats and facts about both separately. I would then also try to, in parallel, try to establish like common grounds. Because like if they don't have common grounds, you can't really power scale them, because if realities work different to such a degree, to a huge degree, you can't really compare, right? It's gonna make things like very hard to gauge, in a comparison. But I think their verses are close enough that you could do it. I think relatively accurately, but definitely in an entertaining way. And I think it's gonna be so goofy and so nerdy. I just want to do it. I don't know. It's nerdy, but I want to do it. But the problem is that I'm not an expert. Like it's not like I am, deep in the lore of either of the two games. It's just like from what I see, kind of thing. From what they've shown. All right. And I don't think I will ever, because my mind is not mathematically inclined. I don't think I'll ever do. I will ever go to a depth where I'm analyzing like how many times the speed of light, like can either of them move, or I don't think I will go that far. So it's all gonna be educated guessing from the feats that we discover. But like, yeah, no, like if someone into power scaling proper did that, I would definitely watch that video with you. I would even if it was like a 9-hour video, I would definitely watch it with you on stream. That would be crazy. But like, I think nobody cares about those two characters. So why the fuck not? You know, it's gonna be so nerdy. I'm gonna love it. I mean, even in a way, if you think about it, in a way, what I've talked about so far, has also been quite nerdy, in my opinion. Every single thing that I said has been quite nerdy today, which is nice. It's good. It's good to nerd out a few times a week. Doctor's prescription, okay? But yeah, no, I love the stuff. I don't know. But yeah, if I were to show you stuff right now, I'd have to make sure that you can see, like, it's so bad. I'd have to make sure that you can see my feet for some of it. Some of it that won't matter because, it won't be necessary. But for some of the points I made, you would have to be able to see my legs at the very least. Meaning I would have to position my camera somewhere more convenient and all that, and I'm not sure that this is what I want to do right now. But yeah, no, it's something I have to conquer. It's something I just have to do, you know. This camera shit is something I just have to do. You know what? I'll get some tea, and while I'm making tea, I'll give it a thought. I'll give it a serious thought, and then I'll come back, and we'll have tea, and I'll decide if today is the day that I start actually showing you stuff or not. That would be interesting. It would be very interesting. You know what would be super interesting? If I had someone to work out with. That would be so fucking cool. Anyway, That's neither here nor there. I'm gonna make that tea, okay? And while I'm making that tea, I should probably find you some music, because like today's stream is just literally just chatting, so I should find you something to listen to while I'm, you know, while I'm making tea. Give me a sec. I'll find something for sure. Let's see. What do we have here? Something that is... You know what? That Donkey Kong mix, that is good, right? So why not that? So let me find it. There we go. And so now you can just enjoy that for a little bit. There you go. And then I'll just hit play. And is that too loud? No, okay. So I'll mute myself and I'll be right back, okay? How are you doing? Music all right? I hope it is. I'm quiet. Yeah, maybe I am a bit. JK, fuck off then. Sorry, what you're hearing is my tea. I'm just like, I'm mixing the honey in there. So just for you, I'm gonna wear like a shorter skirt. So I can actually, wait, no. That's what I meant to do. So I can actually show you stuff, I guess. I might leave the music on, I'm not too sure about that one. It would be nice to have some music, I suppose, in the background. Or maybe not, I don't know. I mean, it's not like I have a lot to show you, right? But I'll try. I'll try to, like, the things that I was talking about at the start. I'll try to show you what I meant with those. Especially like the thing that like Tyler was saying, that like, you know, he would sidestep towards the side where there is no pointy stick. And I'll demonstrate why that is like not really that simple. And obviously I don't have a spear here, okay, or a polearm for the matter, but I do have my practice sword, and you know, it's a stick essentially, so I can just show you with just a shorter stick, right? In essence, because you don't need much more than that. So yeah, that's like my thought on this. But first tea, like, to me that's important. Let's see. And I mean, I'm not even sure like anyone would be fucking interested, and I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be like goofy as fuck. But still, you know, this is gonna be my first time like ever trying to show on stream like anything, just literally trying to show stuff on stream, because I don't consider having danced or anything to be any sort of demonstration or anything, whereas this, you know, if I do decide to do it today, that is going to be like something more, I don't know, for demonstration, I guess. I don't fucking know. Plus I'm also like very conscious of the fact that like this might paint me in completely the wrong light, or like, you know, have some kind of side effect like that, I guess. Or I don't know, I don't want to like, I don't know, I don't want to come off as something that I'm not, whether it's good or bad, you know. Maybe only if it's good. But no, for real, it's difficult for me to do this, essentially. But yeah, after this tea, we're fucking doing it, I guess. I decided, you know, I was watching the water boil, and I was like, yeah, this is my anime moment. I'm gonna show everyone that like, you know, I can cut reality with my practice sword. But no, okay, so for real, a few disclaimers. Again, I can't stress enough, this has nothing to do with anyone, this is like something I want to do independently, I guess. I'm not an expert, this is something I should repeat over and over, I guess, because some people are fucking gorillas, apparently. This is just what works for me, trademark. This is just stuff that a guy showed me, and I found it very interesting, and I adopted it. And that's it, like, that's to completely demystify it, that's what it is, right? It's nothing else. Literally nothing else. And using that, I will try to demonstrate why, potentially, or maybe, or perhaps, some of the points that Tyler brought up, regardless of who the intended target was of the criticism, and even regardless of like who even brought it up, that they may be right or wrong, depending on what we decide they, right? Or at least for me, they're gonna be either right or wrong. Listen, I can't really say much more. Like, seriously, if I say more about that, it would be like beating myself over with a stick at this point. Like, if you're not smart enough to understand that this is all highly subjective and individual, and also potentially right, but also potentially wrong, and that's okay, because that's what dialogue is there for, that's what discussions are there for. If you can understand, if any of these concepts, if anything that I said the last 5 minutes is like beyond your understanding, at this point I feel it is on you. If you get somehow, you know, offended, or if you find it laughable or anything, that's on you at this point. Okay, I've said everything I could to make sure that my position is clear, blah blah blah. I'm not attacking anyone personally. I'm not even like, I don't even care about individuals. I just care about the points brought up. And none of this has any other bearing than just speculative guesstimation. Okay? And that's how you should treat all of the people on the fucking internet anyway, so there you go. Including your favorite short guys, and your favorite gun guys, and your favorite whatever guys or girls, okay? That's how you should treat all that. So yeah, treat me the same, we're gonna be fine. There won't be any problems. And keep in mind, I guess that's the real disclaimer, is like, keep in mind that I'm just telling you right now that I'm out of shape. I'm just telling you right now, as I've said before, that I haven't practiced martial arts for a few years now. And, you know, my experience is a decade and more, maybe 12 years of various martial arts. But mostly like with that one guy that I consistently, you know, call my teacher, because I feel like, you know, he's the one who taught me the most, so he gets the title, I guess, he gets the take. Did they say take? I meant cake. So you know. By no means is this going to be something in the style of do this if you want to like be good at martial arts, or do this if you want to cut people truly with your blade, you know. I'm no fucking Musashi, quite fucking obviously, and I won't make like claims like that. Obviously, you know, especially the latter one would be harmful. So, you know, it's all good fun and food for thought, so yeah. No bully. Okay? I'm also no historical expert. Obviously. I fucking hated history, actually. This tea is so fucking good, though. Minimal honey. And, yeah, nothing else. That's it. It's good. It's very good. And obviously, if you see something that is factually and legitimately wrong in what I do or say, you know, especially if I'm gonna like show you what works for me, trademark, you know, you can always just point it out, we can discuss it, whatever. It's interesting material. I'll milk it for its worth to make some fucking stream bucks. I'll probably laugh at you. No, I won't, don't worry. But yeah. What a long fucking disclaimer, am I right? But you know, as I said, some people are fucking gorillas, so whatever, dude. As for the camera position, I don't know what I'll do. I guess we'll go with experimenting. You'll help me set it up right now. Like, all I need is for you to be able to see, like, my legs partially. I think you'll be able to deduce, even if you can't see my feet per se, you will be able to deduce, like, the position of my feet anyway. So, you know, if you have, like, more than 10 IQ. So, yeah, no worries about that. And mind you, again, I'm out of shape, okay? I'm out of form, okay? My form is poor over the years, okay? So yeah. God, this should be interesting. This should be interesting, and it can backfire in so many ways. But you know, someone's gotta teach you how to fight, kids. So that's not what I'm gonna do, okay? I was just kidding. I just found it funny. Just, just to make that clear, okay? Someone's gonna show you how to fight. And all these clowns, they're not going to do that for you. But I will. Try to keep up, kid. Okay. But again, first I'm gonna finish my tea though, okay? I just found it a good opportunity to like, you know, to say the things I want to say. And also, that's important, I might be so shy, like I might be super nervous, and I might fuck up more than usual just because of how nervous I am right now. Because I am nervous, I mean, I can't fucking help it, okay? So if that gets too much for me, or if I sense it getting in the way of like showing the stuff I want to show, I'll stop. Okay, I'll stop. And also considering this is like the last thing I want to do for this stream anyway, for today, I might just stop and then also stop the stream after I wish you good night and all that. Kiss you on the cheek and on the lips, and then pat you on the back, and then pet you a little, and then put you to bed, and then I'll stop the stream. Okay, it's simple as that. So, let me finish the tea then. Maybe I shouldn't be having tea so late. Maybe that was a mistake. I will try to work on my sleep schedule today as well. I managed to get it back to like being in bed by 5 o'clock in the morning. I managed that. It used to be 8 o'clock like a week ago or something. I'm working on it, okay? I'm really working on it, trust me. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Fixing your sleep schedule is tough. It's pretty tough. For me. Takes a lot of just staying in bed and just forcing yourself to sleep. And I've been having the weirdest fucking dreams. But you know what? At least ever since I started like sleeping before 8 o'clock in the morning again, at least I do get dreams and I do remember them. And they're weird. They're very weird. Probably my brain trying to unload a little bit. The weirdest is waking up earlier. It feels strange. But good, you know, the good kind of strange. Still strange though, like unusual. After 3 weeks of like shit sleep. I think even my circles, like my black eyes from sleeplessness are kind of trying to heal up a little bit, to go away a little bit. God, I don't even like. I had the shittiest of moods those weeks, for real. That's what caused like all this sleeplessness. Like really just bad mood, honestly. God. You know, it's good that I have this under just chatting, because that way not a lot of people are gonna be watching, which is, for me right now, that's like good, because I'm shy, nervous or whatever. It gets lost, like it's easy for my stream to get lost in the sea of like Saturday evening or Saturday night just chatters. And right now I wouldn't have it any other way, let me tell you that. And I hope I do stay under the radar. At least, you know, at least until I get used to the camera and everything again. Or at all, I should say. Alright. I guess here fucking goes. Let me get my practice sword, which, by the way, at this point I've completely destroyed. I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. I think it's time to buy a new one, and I might do that. Like as much of a relic as this thing is right now, it's bordering non-functional at this point for the purposes that I wanted. Like, I'll show you and you'll know what I mean. And I guess that's gonna be a good way to introduce myself. Wow, I'm speaking as if I haven't ever turned on my camera, but like, let me show you. Hi. So, can you see? Yes, you can see. Let me move this a bit away, that's the microphone, okay. So, look at this thing. Look at the damage at this point. Like, what the fuck? I've never seen you... Fuck off. Look at this. There is nothing to keep this thing anywhere. Like, look at that. For real. This can just freely move up and down. Like, that's it. Because the tip is also fucked. Because I've been, you know, striking too many things with it at this point, and the tip just got ripped off. And really, at this point, I might even use duct tape, just like Shad, to hold this together. I mean, look at this. That's it. It's fucking destroyed. Look at this. You can just take it apart. Okay. It's holding on for dear life, and that's a big shame, because that's, you know, at this point, you know, when you get a pet and it's like with you for years and years, and you kind of consider it like your friend at that point, like part of the family and everything. To a lesser degree, this has been with me like through so many fucking, so much practice. Look at this shit. God damn it. What am I even supposed to do with that shit right now? It's not gonna hold. But it will have to. At least for this, you know, one last time, I guess. It's gonna have its moment of fame, I suppose, whatever that might mean. I don't think there's a point in trying to... See what I mean? Poor thing. Yeah, that's the best I can do for it right now. Yeah, that's it. So that's gonna be the instrument I'm gonna use. As I was using it earlier, when I told you that I was practicing and shit, just to see like how winded I'd get, I managed to get like a splinter or two. I wasn't wearing my gloves. Not that they will protect me or anything, and in fact I hope they don't get damaged. Yeah, I managed to get like a splitter in there or two, and I had to remove them. But yeah, it is what it is. It did. Okay, it did. Let me just put some more music on, I guess. All right, so let's see. What can you see? Let's pretend. So I'll explain to you like how this works. You're supposed to use this yellow line should always be towards you, because that indicates, like, you know, this is the cutting edge, let's say. Okay, so this is the back of it. Now this is to be used for, you know, blade alignment, so to speak. So that you at least know where the flat of the sword would be. Alright? So you don't strike with that. That's what this yellow line does, most of all. Obviously it's also there to hold some of the pieces in place. But that ship has sailed. So yeah. And I'll pretend that, like, this is not flimsy as fuck, and I'll just try to hold it there. That's how this is gonna go. Let me get some more tea. Alright. So let's examine, let's first check sound, okay? So let me move the chair out of the way. There goes the chair. And can you see my legs? You probably can, right? And probably enough for me to just, you know, you can see if I'm standing with my legs spread apart or with my legs crossed, right? Legs spotted. All right, cool. So the first claim that I was talking about, right, was so Shad in that video was holding, in the video that Tyler was criticizing, in that instance he was holding his shitty fucking his shitty double-bladed thing, okay, like this, like so. It was either like this or like this or like this. I'm not going to care about that because it works either way. What I'm trying to demonstrate is gonna work either way, okay? And so Shad in that instance was like here. Alright, can you see that thing? Or was I holding it too high? I think you can see it, right, if I hold it here. Or we can pretend that, like, it's higher if we have to. Because the principle is the same, right? So we can pretend that it's higher. And so the suggested technique by Tyler there was that if I'm using it like this, let's pretend it's a spear, and I'm using it like this. Alright? Wait, what are you saying? Alright, let's pretend that I'm using it like this. And so what Tyler was saying, that if this is the tip and it's coming this way, alright? Don't know if you can see me there, okay, cool. That you would sidestep to this way, right? So you would have a clean angle to your opponent. Alright, but what if I just do this? There, for example, okay, let's see. So if the target is in front of me, alright? And I want to, like, strike, for example, right? I can. If it's there, I can just twist and strike, for example. And if it's there, I can similarly do the same. There is no danger to me, honestly. I can even, like, backpedal and strike, right? So that, as you can quickly see, is no surefire way of dealing with someone pointing a dangerous object at you. It can be part of a strategy, but it can't be your main. Like, that alone is not going to disable their field of view. It's not like I'm holding it here, over here, therefore, you know, like this, therefore now you can just go to my back. It's not like that. I'm holding it close, I'm holding it at a diagonal position, right, as you can see. And if someone, even if it's up here or down here, it just doesn't matter, okay? Because I can very quickly shift it if I need to. And also my body is moving. I'm not just standing there. Even if I was just standing here, I'm not allowed to move at all, okay? I can still just, let's say it's here, just like Shad had it, all right? I can easily just use it like that. There's no problem. I can even strike there. Or I can even like, you know, there, for example. It's like, you know, you can do something. And if to Shad's defense, let's say defense, okay, which I don't want to do, you can even go like this for if it's a double-bladed staff, for example. Or you can swipe. Even if you can't, if you don't have time to prime it for a piercing strike, since that weird abomination was a double-bladed sword, he could have just like swiped as he's moving, right? If you're moving towards here, right? So there's also that. So it's not really the end-all be-all if you're going to do that. Like, it's not like a surefire way, okay? So that point I think is disproven by just mere logic and mechanics. Like, why would it be like, if you're the camera, right, which you are, what does it matter if you move to this side? Like, you think I can like strike at you? What's up? Even though it's here, for example, I can still strike at you very easily. Nothing stops me from doing that. So I don't quite understand like what the problem was there. And again, like I said to Shad's defense, but like I really don't want to defend the guy, okay? Or attack him, or defend or attack Tyler, by the way. So I need to get that out of the way, okay? I need you to understand that. Alright, so that was the first one. Now, the leg part. So don't cross your legs. If you cross your legs, you're done. Alright, so that is a bit more complicated to demonstrate. But first, I'll start by showing you what I meant with my example of locking your chest towards someone, but at the same time, you can move in that direction freely. So you can do that, for example, okay? Or the opposite. Nothing stops you, okay? Nothing fucking stops you from having a movement like that. And to you, it will appear like I'm crossing my legs, right? But I'm not. It's not dangerous. It's not gonna like... it's not the end of the world. You can use that. Or even worse, you can just literally cross your legs, okay? There's nothing wrong with crossing your legs in tactical movement, all right? And I don't know if you could see that, but like, yeah, you do, there's nothing wrong with that. You can literally just do it. That's it. So it's that simple. You know, you can position yourself in a way that will be beneficial to you. It's simple as that, because crossing your legs can have an advantage. For example, if I do that here, all right, at this point, yes, you can push me, all right, but for example, I can take there, and now I can also spin very easily. Which also goes to demonstrate that like spinning is, as I described, it's a yes and no. It depends, all right. So how would that look like from the front? So if I wanted to spin, like, let's say that I'm on my neutral stance, so here, for example, okay? Which this is not my neutral stance, this is like my nervous stance, okay? But if I wanted to spin, I would, so what I'm doing right now, which you can't see, my front leg, okay, which I just slapped, okay, turns, all right? In turning, I'm still facing you, right? So here, I'm actually ready for that, because then all you have to do, not with the sword, of course, maybe I should put it down for now. No, I won't put it down, you know what I mean. You can turn, you can check what's happening, right? You can quickly do this, all right? Now I can see you, like there you are. Now I can decide if I want to go through with that, or just reset it. In the same careful way, right? So spinning is, I think spinning is demonized a lot more than it should be. So, what would you achieve with that? Well, with that you achieve range, okay? And a bit more force into your strike. Okay, how much more? I don't fucking know. But I assume, okay, that like going this way and taking and then striking, which I won't do because I'm in a tight space, isn't that bad. It can happen. Okay? And then, why the fuck not? Why would you not? And especially if you're swinging an object, okay? Like a heavy hammer or something, if you want to do that, okay? Why would you like not, for example, spin, check, and then go in with a strike, right? Why would you not? You don't even have to complete the strike. Maybe it's just like maybe it's a bait. Like for example, you just spin, and there you are, in this position. And now your strike is not gonna have anything to do with spinning, but with thrusting, right? So you decide on that one, okay? I'm just telling you that like there is a way to make it safe. And of course I'm doing it like very slow right now. But do it fast. If you're doing it in an actual situation, you're gonna be faster. And the same goes with that hand. Okay, oops, checked, and now do I want to complete it? Or do I want to reset it, for example? Okay? I hope that kind of demonstrates that. And again, I'm out of shape and my form is horrible right now. And not only that, but like, for my standards, I'm overweight. Like my body is not used to carrying around and throwing around all the extra weight that I've put on, right? My balance is off. But if you train, you can do it. Now the other point was your stance, right? So if you notice, like look at me right now. Does this look like, can you tell if I can fight just because, can you tell that I'm horrible at fighting just because like, look at my legs, wait, I'll show you how I was just right now. I'm like this, look at how close they are. And by the way, this is how I am at clubs. I'm like, when I wanna chill and hang out, I'm usually like this. I'll usually have a drink, let me replicate. Let me replicate that shit. I'll be like this. That's it, that's how I am usually. Sometimes I do this, like imagine this is a bottle of beer. I'll be resting it here, and I'll be going like... So, would that like be an indicator that I can't fight, for example? Because if you say yes, I think that you're kind of like losing it a little bit. Or for example, if I'm standing like this, alright, does that mean that like I'm super combative? I'm super like combat ready, just because I'm like this? No, I mean, I'm just standing tall, I'm just standing proud, I'm just, you know, chilling and flexing. I know martial arts. Look at my form of standing. I am ferocious. Rawr. So, as you can see, it's bollocks. Honestly, you can't really tell. Maybe I'm just like this. Maybe I'm Hans, like who cares? I'm just like that. Does that mean that I can't kick you or something? Like, yeah, of course I can. There you go. That's a kick. Like, it's easy. Here's an upward sword slash into like other stuff, but like, what does stance have to do with anything? Like, what if I'm not like this? And as for the low stances, right? As for the low stances, that's what I was talking about. Like, you see some people going like this. Can you see that? Like, you can see that my knee is exposed. Even my back knee is exposed. In fact, it's like completely out of control for me. Like it's over there. And it's tiring. This is tiring to maintain, okay? So even if I was to like, why would I have a low stance, like that low? It implies that like, I know for a fact that my opponent will not strike at my legs. But these are rules, okay? And there will be no rules. So it's best to have like a more relaxed stance, always. For example, my neutral stance is always, even when I have a weapon, like now, my neutral stance is always something like this, here. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. It's like, I'm facing this way, or I might want to face that way, okay? But never to front, or never to the side too much, or back, of course, okay? And obviously, that hand, like in my case at least, this hand is always my free hand, let's say, or my off hand. It's always gonna be somewhere here, because I needed to be able to defend this. I needed to defend this area. this area here, especially this spot. I need this defended. Because like this is like the solar plexus and like you have your chest here and your ribs. I want it kind of protected, you know, I want it like here. The other one can be like wherever you want, okay? It doesn't matter too much to me. Though I will also, for the record, show you how my teacher would be. His neutral stance was like here, like this. He was always like that. I don't know if it's better or not, but he was always this way. I found this extended hand a little bit suspicious. I prefer, if I have to do something with this, it will usually either be using some kind of tool or instrument, or it's gonna be relaxed here a little bit, just to protect maybe the groin or something a little bit. And if it's low, there's an advantage. And that advantage is like, if you kick, I'm not gonna kick, but I'm gonna show you what I mean, okay? So let's assume that you kick, alright? So here, you raise your leg, and now you're exposing this part here. And this part, if it gets kicked, for example, you're gonna be in trouble. So it does sort of protect there, for example, okay? So what happens is I'm protecting my vulnerable points here, if I can, and a bit my face a little bit. But this one, if I'm not doing anything, it's usually gonna cover lower area here. And that's why I have like one hand like here. I prefer it like sort of here, and the other one I prefer it low. But if I'm holding something, then one hand is gonna be up here, even if it's the one with the sword. It will protect here, and the other one is gonna be like somewhere here. And you can find your own shit, I don't care, okay? I'm just showing you. As for sword, for sword stuff, it's not invalid to rest it on your shoulder. It's not like it's going to be difficult to prime it, okay? Even if it's just here, you know, it's still protecting you if need be. You can quickly add your other hand to see what I mean. So I don't know. And as for getting winded, I mean, look, it's not like I've been exerting myself now, okay? But I don't know. It's difficult to say because like I'm also talking, right? Which talking takes the breath out of you as well, which is something that should be considered when. Something that Tyler should have considered when he criticized Shad being out of breath. And especially if Shad is actually honest with him having chronic fatigue. Talking while demonstrating in his stupid fucking gambesson, which I honestly find it ridiculous. For the purpose of making a video, I find it ridiculous, by the way. I wouldn't think it's insane for him to be catching his breath, to be breathing heavy. I don't think it's insane. It's or an indicator of like bad fucking form. And again, like it has nothing to do with like the two of them. Forget them. I'm just like focus on the points I'm making, okay? Let me get some tea. Okay. And I mean, you can see I'm even drinking something, which normally you shouldn't be doing. But anyway, and so these were the points that I wanted to kind of debate, right? So I guess I've done that now, and now I'm just like a person in front of the camera. I don't know what to tell you. Like that. That's it for now. I can show you, for example, what my teacher would have us do to become familiar with weapons, for example, okay? He started with like a very simple thing, that there are like 8 ways to cut, right? So it's like this way, that, there's this, okay? And then there's like that and that. And of course, thrusting, okay? So, as long as we were practicing weapons, we would always start with those simple things, alright? We would always start with like the 8 directions, let's say, okay? We would always start going like, which again, my form is shit right now, okay? We would always go like this and up, would go like this way and the other way, and then they're opposites. You see what I mean? And so now I'm also very nervous, by the way. I'm so nervous because like this camera stuff, for real. And he would actually start with 2 hands, but he would also ask us to do it one-handed, right? And so, you know, he would first do the 200 thing, okay, all that shit, or whatever. And again, like I'm so nervous right now. I'm probably doing a lot of mistakes, and I honestly just don't fucking care. I'm just trying to show you like what we did because I have nothing else to show you right now. And then we would go like one-handed. So for example, we'll do that, and back, we'll switch this way, that way, all right, that way, back, and stuff like that. And it might look ridiculous to you right now, but I don't know, it's cool to do, it's cool to practice, honestly. He wasn't necessarily against flourishing your sword, like this, for example, depending on what you wanted to do. And now I'm doing it slowly because I'm nervous. But yeah, depending on what you want to do and what the... Like for example, this is a heavy thing, right? For me, I'm weak, okay? So this is heavy for me. So he was encouraging flourishing as part of recovery, for example, okay? So if you were to, for example, cut this way, right, there. Now this can be recovered like in many ways, but an easy way is to just flourish it a little bit, okay? And continue from there. So have a continuous motion that will enable you to attack and defend. Which I'm not demonstrating really well, but like again, super nervous and out of shape, okay? So it was interesting. And of course, if you're wondering, if you're gonna do a hard slash, for example, okay? Now that is difficult to recover because like you're there and you're open, so you have to bring it in, for example. And be careful of your legs because you can't do the motion and recover the sword but not recover your leg. Because then, you know, stabby on the leg. So it's a lot of things you have to consider, and that's why he was urging us to take it very slow when we're learning how to use a weapon. He would be like, okay, do that, make sure that your alignment is correct, for example, okay? And then he would be like, all right, so now how are you gonna recover it? Okay, like this, all right, so then if you're gonna do that, take a step backward as well, and now you're like there. And you see my legs are crossed now, so I guess Tyler will be very mad with me. But from here I can do like many things, okay? And even when attacking, like what I did now, it's very easy and common to forget your leg there. But you have to move with the attack, right? And I think I went off camera, but that's okay, you get the point. But yeah, if you're not gonna do such a strike, okay? If you're not gonna do that, then probably you're gonna do that, for example, and then you bring it back like this, okay? So that is like kind of like half flourishing, I guess, a little bit. So because you go like here, for example, from there you can retreat and bring it back. That's the bed. I'm gonna fall on my bed. So yeah, that's some. Let me find some music. What kind of music do we want? Let me see. Let me think about this. So we did that, we did this. But what if I went here? And then I went here. There we go. So, even striking like this way, yeah, you can recover easily. But what about just bringing it up like this, for example, which is still valid? So he did say, for example, that like flourishing is not like, you know, whatever. But if you can add some function to it, then why the fuck not? Why would you not do that if that's your speed? Okay? And he did encourage us to not think about that stuff as a specific weapon. Because, you know, just think about it as a stick. Literally, forget that it's something, don't assign it any form. Because like all these things you can do with various weapons, right? Like the principle is gonna be the same, no matter what. So yeah, like even if this was like a sledgehammer, Okay, even if it was a sledgehammer, the principles are the same. Like you can swing it downwards, you can swing it upwards, okay, or even bring it like from the back there, okay. But it's the same principle though, right? It's still the same fucking principle, right? It's the same fucking principle, isn't it? So he wanted us to learn how to deal and recover from those, and those were the basics. Those were the actual basics that we had to learn. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was cool. And yeah, never mind about like more advanced stuff, because that was difficult to master. I mean, even now, you know, it's still a difficult exercise for me to just like keep doing the stuff and then do it with one hand and then the other hand. And then he would have us like do this, which is, this is a good exercise, like stand like this and just go the full motion of your wrist, right? Just do that. And just repeat that, and that will strengthen your wrist. And then of course the opposite. Don't mind the reverse grip, just think about it as just a training instrument right now, okay? And you will go this way, fucking hate it, and this way, and you would do that. Just to try and give your wrist like the ability to, you know, to hold steady. And then we would also do this this weird shit. So we'll put it down like this, right? We'll pick it up with your fingers, and then you try to, which I don't think I can do anymore. You try to bring it all the way up with your fingers, okay? Like this. And then lower it with your fingers, like this. But without, you know, dropping it. This shouldn't happen. Like that shouldn't happen. And that's the way that we were training back then. But weapons didn't interest me too much back then, which was stupid of me because it was nice, it was okay. But yeah, mostly we would spend time like doing these strikes like repeatedly, like, you know, this sort of thing, which I can't even remember right now if I'm doing it correctly, but this sort of thing like repeatedly. And then we would do like this sort of thing repeatedly. You know, recover it, bring it to the neutral, again, recover, neutral, all of this, in all the stupid directions that you can imagine, all the directions that you wanted, and then you had to do it like with one hand, like so, and so as I demonstrated, and then you had to do it with the other hand, which is a fucking shit show. Because like, even now I can't fucking do it. Like it goes like this a little bit. You know, it's shaky. My left hand is a bit shaky. I can still like slash with it probably, but it's a bit shaky and my aim is off. Like it just goes like a bit like this, a bit wavy, you know. But in the moment I can still do it with my left hand if I had to. And you know, even here you can think like, oh, so vulnerable. But recovering is so fast, you know? Recovering is actually fast. And going from one hand to the other, or two hands or one hand and changing it, you know, it's like, you learn and you do it, you know? You just learn and you do it. Just keep practicing. What can I tell you? But yeah, let's go back to the points though. So, you know, take it easy if you're gonna like practice this. Take it easy and do what my teacher said, I think, because she had the right idea with like doing it slow. Anything that you do, even if it's like a fantasy slash, like you wanna like fucking idol this shit, okay? Okay, but now check alignment. Is it correct? What happened to your leg? Where is your weight? You know, correct. How are you gonna recover this? Choose a way. Let's choose this. Where is your front leg? Where is your weight? Repeat. Just every single move. And he did that for like everything. So even this, right? Simple downward slash. Okay, where is your weight? Where is your legs? What can you see? Where is your other hand? And take it slow. Like, okay, there we go. Okay, is this like stabbing me? Because a lot of people will do this. Okay, and it's kind of like, you know, you're not supposed, this should not be hitting you. Okay, if it's hitting you, you probably hold it wrong, for example. Anyway, enough about that. I'm not here to teach you, and I can't teach you because, you know, I'm not an expert. But yeah, it was interesting. And again, like I disclaimed so much at the beginning, but I'm gonna say it now, okay? Like again, if these don't work for you, that's fine. You do you, okay? But for me, like that stuff works. I'm glad I learned it. I like it honestly. But yeah, so of course there was blocking, by the way. So you know, you did learn like how to deflect and then strike or stuff like that. And you were encouraged to use like the whole of the weapon. So for example, it wouldn't be like something that he would stop us from doing if you blocked like this and then you came in with the handle, he wouldn't stop us. Or for example, if you, this is my punchable chair, okay, it's very punchable, I love it. If you, for example, strike at the surface, alright, and not in the air, the surface is going to have a reaction, this is going to have a reaction, you're going to have a reaction, okay? So he was, the way I learned it anyway, was like, when you strike at something, alright, let's say you strike like this, okay? See what happened, it bounced, okay? Boink, boinkies, it bounces. So try to make it so precise that it doesn't bounce, which I can't do anymore, right? And that was a good exercise actually. Like trying to minimize, he taught us, he was insistent, for example, that if we're punching something, then it shouldn't be boink, it should be all the way, all right? And like this, the impact shouldn't alter your course or, in other ways alter your mechanic, your technique, for example, okay? And so you would go all the way. Maybe lightly at first, but your hand shouldn't, do that. It should be, it stays, okay? For example, which I can't do now, but it would stay. That was the point of the exercise, like put that reaction back into it. Because if you don't put it back into it, it's gonna put it back into you, and then your wrist is gonna be gone. So, yeah. And so I think like, it's interesting. It's interesting. He even, for example, showed us that like, okay, what happens if indeed you strike something, but you can't keep your force in there. And then he would be like, okay, then you redirect it. So for example, if you punch here, and that is shaky, just move it upwards, okay? Just redirect it, fuck it, okay? And it was kind of similar with weapons, because it was like, alright, if it goes there, alright, and then what you do, because like now you have your weapon over there, and holy shit, it's falling apart. It might die tonight. I don't want it to die tonight, but this might be its last day on Earth. Well, yeah, for example, he would be like, okay, so you strike, alright? And that's not enough. Okay, put more force in there, fucking drive it through or drive it out. Things like that he would encourage us to get to know to do, And yeah, I mean, even the thing that I showed you, it's like, okay, you strike here, for example, and then you redirect it downwards, for example, and that would have like certain different effects and blah, blah, blah. Listen, it's good exercise. It's interesting. It can have some application in the sense, okay, if you punch someone in the guts, all right, why not redirect it upwards, okay? Why not that? It does have applications, not like, even if you don't want to like believe in the whole, put the energy in there and don't take it back because it's going to damage you, just see the practical stuff if you want. It's fine, honestly. You don't have to believe anything. You don't have to, that was something that I liked about it. It was like, even though he himself was like clearly believing in some stuff, the stuff that he showed had application, whether you believe it or not, for example. And there wasn't like any techniques, at least that I know of, that he wouldn't explore. So for example, or the whole thing of like, why recover the shortness and do more damage if you like push it in, for example, okay? And stuff like that, or you understand what I'm saying, okay? But yeah, the thing with this was like, if it bounces, just cut with it. You know, if it bounces, just cut through, for example. Because yeah, you know, hitting various things is gonna bounce your weapon. Flesh maybe not, but like maybe armor, then yeah, you know. So you might want to like keep it there, and maybe even drive it where you want it to go, and then like cut in. But at the same time, you have to be careful because like listen, I'm getting carried away so much. I'm getting carried away so much. It's crazy because I was about to tell you like how do you fucking make sure that you're safe in that situation, for example, right here, and you're driving it in there. Maybe just do a lever and then find the sink in the armor and go through, for example. You know, push it even here. Fuck it. You know, stuff like that. Then fucking kick the thing and then recover. Like there are so many things you can do, honestly. And it's just very interesting to just see it as a meditation, you know. So it bounced, right? So what else can I do? Can I recover? Yes, let's try it in another angle. You know, use the bounce to use the force loop, use the bounce loop. But you know what I mean. Anyway, maybe I was also a bad student, so don't take what I say for granted, obviously. And maybe I have paraphrased things you said. But like, okay, the point was, I think I made my case with like, forget everything I said, by the way, just forget everything. Go and learn, find your own master, whatever, mistress, and learn if you want to. My points were simply, this doesn't have a disadvantage so severe to flanking that someone would go this way or that way and I wouldn't be able to react accordingly if it was a spear. Low stance, no. Crossed legs, it can happen. Spinning attacks, it can happen. Legit, you know. And then don't underestimate stuff, because like stuff can be lethal. And what else? And getting winded momentarily is not such a big of a deal. Like did you like, I don't know, have you ever had like issues with that? I don't know. Like for me, it's mostly like if I do something, I get winded, right? If I'm like whatever, just hitting something, whatever, and get winded, I'll just be like, okay. And that's all it takes. That's it, literally. Like, just forget how tired you are. Just breathe. Okay, again, you know, and that's how it goes. It's not like standing there and talking to a camera while swinging a sword at another guy, and you have to catch your breath, and you're talking to the camera. I don't find it that's a huge sign of like, that guy can't fight, you know? And then the last point is like, and I'm not saying that Shad can fight. Maybe Shad can't fight for shit, okay? But I'm just saying as a point, in a vacuum, it's questionable. And the stance thing, again, everything I say as a point, in a vacuum, everything I've said, is also no good indicator of what could or could not happen in a fight with a person. Who the fuck knows? It's not a good indicator. It's at best some kind of like evidence, you know, a little bit, but it's not really an indicator. And as for me fucking spazzing out, like fucking, you know, literally nerding out, don't mind me, forget everything that you saw, you're never gonna see it again. Not with this sword, apparently. Because this thing, I can barely keep it in my fucking hand, because it's falling, like as I'm pressing, it's just falling apart. Like, it's just changing shapes as I'm striking. But yeah. So yeah, that was it. I don't know what else to tell you. The exercises are good. You can do that. Like, this exercise is pretty good. If you want to strengthen your wrists, not necessarily for martial arts, just anything. If you want to strengthen your wrists, just, you know, and it's easy to do. Just find a stick and just go like whatever. And for your fingers as well, like the craft that I showed you, like trying to get there, like this thing. That's good. It's pretty nice. And also don't forget to practice like both hands and two-handed, both ways, okay? And you know, that's gonna be good for you. Maybe one day you'll dual wield and you'll become like fucking Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. That's cool. Maybe that's your calling, to be a ninja. Who knows? Be a YouTube ninja. And That's all, folks. Damn it, my poor sword. That's it. I'm fucking retiring it. Fuck it. And there is so much nuance to what I showed you, and the reason why I'm saying you shouldn't take it like seriously is because, again, I'm out of shape, I'm out of form, and a lot of the ways that you're going to be practicing a sword technique or a weapon technique are going to be on purpose detrimental, because they're meant to do something which, while you're doing that something, the actual technique will be better for it. And that's why I hate answering questions when people would say, why are we doing it like that if that like leaves us exposed? It's not about that, it's about the whole exercise. And then when you need to do it, you'll do it the way you want to do it. But you gotta practice a certain way to build up like certain muscles and to build up certain reflexes and to inconvenience yourself a little bit more so that you build discipline and blah 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 blah. You know, it's a whole fucking theory, okay? So that's why I hate it when people ask me, why are you pulling your leg back like that when you're practicing? Why are you doing that when you're practicing? Why are you... just fucking do the thing. Do the thing so you can go home and have McDonald's or something. And then when you need it, the technique is gonna be there. And it's not even about techniques even, it's about the way of doing things, like the you know, slashing, because, you know, remember, you shouldn't see it as techniques, you shouldn't see it as, like, okay, I might have to explain this. Now that I'm on a roll, I will explain this. So I've always told you two things, right? First, I'm retiring the sword, okay, for now. First, I talked about taking elements of stuff, alright? So, polish shaper, it's full of like things like that, for example, you know, just flourishes and like, you know, stuff like that. You can grab that, okay, you can grab this whole style of like, you know, combat that goes like everywhere, all the time, you know, and you can grab that and incorporate it to what you want to do. And then you whip that bad boy out when the circumstance is right, and if your weapon is right. But then if the circumstance changes and now it favors like, you know, piercing, then take something from fencing, Olympic fencing, and do that, you know, just go full ham, no matter the weapon. Don't be restrained by styles or your body or anything, like you can adapt anything to anything you want. So just take things that work and just like, you know, use them. That's what's interesting, you know? And the other thing I talked about was like how to actually get to a point where like this feels like part of you. This is such a huge thing to claim, but what it really means is that this shouldn't hinder you in any way. That is all it really means, and that it should be used only when the time is right. Even if you have it in your hands, just fight normally, you know, just punch normally, do what you want normally, even techniques like, you know, if that is like my opponent's arm, let's say, okay, even techniques such as like wrist manipulation can happen with your sword, okay? Oh, but you're putting the sword in the other person's arms. Yeah, I am, because now they're gonna try to catch it. That's my trap. That's my cue. So, you know, or fucking deflect them, for example, with this, or whatever you want, or just use this and not the blade because it's lethal, and stuff like that. But the important part is, forget everything. The important part is just keep it in your hand and forget about it. Do push-ups, dance. I don't know what you want to do, okay, but just have it there, and that's an exercise in and on itself. And eventually, you forget it, but it's also there. And it can do what you want because you've been holding it all day, and then like a good fart, and then, you know, when you want to use it, it's effortless. It's like it's just there, and you're very aware of where it is. It's like you've been using it all day, like you've been trying to catch objects, to move things, and it's gonna inconvenience you. It's gonna like boop everything, but slowly you're learning its length. You're learning its dimensions, and you're not making mistakes anymore. And that way you're also not fucking, you know, doing this when you strike and all that, and the weight becomes familiar and all that, and now there you go, you're one with your weapon. That's the practical application of that, and you're mindful of it. And philosophically, it's a whole different question. But yeah, just fucking consider. You know what? Consider it wearing weights. It's the same thing, except these weights are distributed very differently and for a purpose. So consider that, for example. Okay, so yeah, you know, because a lot of times like you'll get tired and you'll be like, "Oop, fuck, it must never touch the floor." And you learn to just keep it there. You learn where it is even if you don't see it, because now you're aware of, you know, you're aware of its length and its dimensions all the time. And you can tell even by the way that you're holding it, where it's pointed, you know. So that's what it means to, yeah, you get it now. And I don't know, what did I want to say? Anything else? No, I don't think so. Unless you want to ask me something, but I doubt it. And besides, you know, you shouldn't be. But I'm not a teacher. Okay, I'm just very enthusiastic about shit that I learned. That is literally all. But when it comes like to some points that I discussed, it's like I can't help but say that like this stupid fucking advice of, oh, if the other person is holding a stick like this, and there's a fucking death stick with a pointed death stick here, and they can hit you, going that way is no definite fucking tactic, because like you can easily get stopped, for example, okay? You can even be fucking butted or whatever, like it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work like that. There's more nuance to just saying, oh, I'll fly over there, and when the other guy does this, I'm gonna like, you know, sidestep. Maybe the other guy also knows what they're doing and they're gonna sidestep to the contrary position. And now what are you gonna do? Are you gonna like circle around each other? You're tiring yourself, whereas the person is just like pivoting. They're just not even doing anything, just pivoting everywhere. That's effortless. But you're walking at a distance because their weapon is longer. And they're gonna be poking at you or laughing at you. So, you know, it's, unless you have some kind of like 360 degrees strategy to this, and you've already... Come on. Okay, no worries. But yeah, okay, so yeah, retiring the sword again. I'll get money to get one eventually. It's not even too expensive, it's like, I don't know, 30 euro or something, or 40 or 60, who the fuck cares? But yeah, okay, so yeah, then I will tell you, it's been nice. I get very passionate about that shit. I guess that was the point, like to be passionate about it. I don't know, to talk passionately about something and see how it works. And I guess that this is how it works. That's how it works. I talk a lot, I talk fast, I go like over the speed limit of what I should be saying. I fucking expand without explaining. It's a mess. If I had to actually, if my purpose was to sit here and like tell you everything, like holy shit, it would take ages. And even the bouncing stuff that I said, even the wording is wrong. That's why I'm urging you to only keep the points of contention that I wanted to, you know, to help come across. And again, it's nothing personal with these two, and I don't fucking care what vendetta they have between them. All I saw was like some points in a vacuum, and I wanted to address them. And I did, and you know, I guess, you know, if I'm wrong, then go ahead and tell me and show me. But I don't think that sidestepping is such an ultimate strategy. I don't think that spinning is useless, or crossing your legs is a sign of clear and definite like lack of skill, or that your posture or stance is an indicator of skill or strength. It can potentially be, I guess, kinda, but like, you know, and all these things, and now you know that, okay, whatever. I think I demonstrated it, okay, so I don't put it down. And again, like, as humbly as I can, like, for fuck's sake, I'm not a teacher, I'm not claiming to be, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a poor little girl who spent like 10 or 12 years, and I'm not being ironic, I'm just, you know, literal, just practicing. That is all. I don't have any fucking, you know, certificate or whatnot. It's just all my experiences. That's all. There's nothing. So yeah, source me, I guess. What can I tell you? But for some things, you don't need like any other sources. Like, what kind of source do you need to tell you to verify that you can turn a stick to point at a different direction? Like, I shouldn't have to be an expert to explain that to you. But yeah, okay. Or the fact, for example, that like Olympic level fencers are going to be like fucking murder machines on the streets. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know, dude. I found it a fun conversation, and also, sorry, Fish, I didn't ignore you. I did read out loud what you said, but I was in the middle of like cooking at that point, so I couldn't really just you know, tell you stuff. But hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And if you're still here, welcome to the chat. But yeah, it's like yeah, I don't fucking know. But yeah, it will strengthen you. Like, okay, the bouncy thing, I feel like I could say a couple of words more about that. So, try to not allow your wrist to flail when you strike at something. That is the practical application of it. Forget everything else, but like, or if you're slashing at a target, okay, keep the sword there if you can. Work a way out to do it. Don't try to do what I do or what anyone else does. Start, you know, hitting the dame with a stick, and see, you know, exactly what causes it to bounce that bad, and how to minimize that. And this exercise will lead to stronger wrists, you know, eventually. And maybe a more confident cut, maybe, okay, or strike, because it might be, you know, in your mind what I had might have been a hammer, could have been, you know, that was the point of not limiting yourself to weapon types or martial arts, you know, styles. That was the point. And yeah, but also, you know, with your legs, knees, whatever you want to strike with, eliminating this bounce or this, like, you know, if the target is here, you hit it and you go all over the place, like, you know, your hand is bouncing. Try to be sure, you know, to strike sure, try to strike true, as they say. It sticks there, it stays there if you can. Good form, I guess, you know, it's gonna give you good form and stronger limbs. Don't injure yourself though, because, you know, vibrations like that can injure you, so, you know, take it easy. It also helps you see exactly how much strength you're putting in your strikes, for example. Anyway, listen. Turning off the camera. That's it. This is my new hairstyle, by the way. It's pretty cute. But did you see it? I don't know if you can see it. Can you even see like how? Let me show you. Wait. It's very cute, in my opinion. Alright, we're gonna need all the light we can get for this one. So, see how it is here? It's cute. It goes like, whee! You know, I don't know, whatever. Fuck it, maybe I can show it. But yeah, that was all. I hope that you didn't cringe too hard. Even if you absolutely fucking hate my guts right now, or think I'm the most cringiest person, just focus on the points I was trying to make, based on the debate between like Sad the Chad and Tyler the critic, and the points they both try to do, and also, for fuck's sake, that sword. I'm gonna say it isn't that bad as an idea, but the execution is fucking shit. And I guess whatever, you know, it's still a blade, as I said, you know. It looks cool, I guess, but it's stupid. I don't know, the execution is just fucking dumb as fuck. But yeah. Yep. So, your turn. How was your day? Tell me stuff. I don't know, just talk to me. I've been talking for like, I don't know, half an hour now or something. So, you know. And again, sorry for being out of shape and everything. But it also proves my point that you don't really need to be like in some top tier shape and form to fucking, you know, to swing a thing and kill someone. And anyway, don't do that, by the way. Don't fucking train to kill people, okay? That's not the point. Maybe it is a little bit, but you know what? Never mind. Don't like assault people with medieval instruments of death, okay? It's not good for anyone's health. I slept and cooked and went on a walk. Oh god. You know, I should be going on walks as well. But I hate it here. I hate walking on the streets here, randomly. I loved it when I went for my hairstyle and my eyebrows. Both times I loved it, but I don't know. I hate that I don't have anyone to do it with, I think. But I love that you did it, honestly. So, like, did you enjoy that kind of like demonstration? Did you find it at all like interesting? Was it cringe? Or like, I need pointers. You think it's interesting, okay. Was it presentable? Did it look good? I'm legit asking you if that looked good. Like, unashamedly asking if that was cringe or not. Because I don't know, I mean... I haven't showed anything. Shown? Haven't showed, I think. No cringe detected? Alright, so I passed Neris's test. What about Kaori? Kaori is brutal. Come at me. Brutalize me, Kaori. Did you detect any greens? I need to know, because if I'm gonna be doing that now and then, I should work on, like, you know, my like, I don't know, presentation. Nah, alright, cool. Well, that was it. I've got nothing else for you, not this day anyway. So I guess this is goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. No, I can stay for like 5 or so. I don't mind it. And I really fucking hope nobody saw this stream. I really hope it flew under the radar. Poor you? Why? I mean, I know why, but why are you saying it? Is it the same reason? I can always make some clips. No, please don't. What are you gonna clip anyway? Oh my god. Listen, I'm just like a, I don't know, dude. I'm just a person on the internet. No one is gonna watch my clips anyway, even if you do them. So I'm not too worried about that. Don't take that as a challenge. And also, I don't know, stuff. I don't know what to tell you, for real. Alright. So maybe... is this like when I stop streaming? I think it's when I stop streaming, right? I wish I could stream more. I mean, I can probably, but like, I'd rather replay some Baldur's Gate 3, for example. Would you be up for that, you guys? Not on stream though, like just the 3 of us. In 13? Okay. And what about Neris? HC knows. Sorry. Oh, I did my eyebrows, by the way. Did I mention that? Like, look, pretty fucking cool, right? But you can't see them, I realize. Not clearly. I'm moving them for you, though. There you go. Demonstration of eyebrows successfully. I don't know. I'm just being goofy right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you Monday, okay? And yeah, I don't know what to say, for real. What are you expecting? Like a smooch? I don't know. Just thank you for watching, for real. And yeah, I hope it was interesting. It was for me. Cool. We'll talk soon, don't worry about it. We'll talk on Monday. It's Cyberpunk Monday. Alright, so enough of me. Have a great weekend. Drink some for me if you're going out later. Because I won't be. Catch you Monday, okay? Let me stretch. Fuck. Ouch. You know, I should start like closing my stream in some like I should be doing like something like make like my own fucking signature like signing off like thing. I don't fucking know. No, that would be too much. I'm not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not on that level. We're on the level of just saying goodbye. So, you know, good night. Yeah, have a great weekend and I'll see you on Monday.